Hey guys, so welcome back. So we got Kaizen's brand new Edge Mustang, and a lot of people have been asking for a more in-depth video on tuning. So we're gonna do a turbo car today, and if you guys want one on a nitrous car, we can also do one on a nitrous car, but it'll kind of all balance together, maybe minus a few things like converter and power management, but I think that's really the only thing that you're going to switch between the two power adders. At least that's what I switch. But I'm going to go over everything, and we're going to get into tuning this. Now, I have not tuned this car at all. This is straight how it came from Kaizen. So I'm going to go over a few things on how to get the tire, you know, certain things amongst everything else. So this might be a little bit longer of a video, but I'm just trying to go in depth so anyone who needs help who's new to Beam can easily kind of grasp of things. Now, there's some things that I don't totally think they work 100%, but I'm gonna go over it, and you may find it helps you, and someone who watches this may find it helps them tremendously. But I'm not the best by any chance, but you know, I'm in there. So guys, hope you enjoy it, and thank you for watching. So the first thing, most importantly, that I'm going to go over, if you're in the server or want to race in the server, we have two major classes. We have Outlaw Small Tire and Small Tire Gangsters. Now, we have a tire for each of those. So if you want to find that tire, it is still under the Revolution Racecraft Drag Tire Pack, and you can use up to a 10-inch, 12-inch, or 14-inch wheel, and then right here under rear tires, you guys can click this plus button and it'll drop down and you can change letters and all that stuff. But on rear tires, you click there. Now, normally it'd be on Drag Tire Pack Revolution Racecraft. Now, this Crash Boss 28 10.5 Slick, that is our small tire outlaw car. That's an outlaw small tire class. Now, for the gangsters, obviously it's the CBTV 28 10.5 Gangster tire. That tire is a little bit more, that class kind of has limited rules. It's very, basically you gotta have doors and windows and a trunk. You gotta have a front clip or nothing. You know, it's, you be on that tire and whatever you can do is what you can do. But the both classes are very fun. We have a lot of fun with both of them, but we're gonna do Outlaw Small Tire today. Maybe the next one, I would do a Gangster tire, and we'll do a nitrous setup on that. But on this car, we are going to be using boost by speed. Now, one other thing that a lot of people also ask about is if you go under your nitrous system, we're not putting nitrous in this car, but I just want to go over this. If you put nitrous on your car, there's Adams nitrous here. A lot of times we'll say Adams nitrous, Adams multi-stage, Adams boost by, or nitrous by speed, or ramping. But if you just click the Adams nitrous and you drop this down, you'll see how it says here Imperial and then metric. Now you want Imperial, and then you click this down again and you can change rampant, nitrous by speed, or multi-stage. The one thing I love about the update they did with this was if you go to nitrous by speed and you drop down, now that's obviously all my boost. Now by speed is in horsepower and mile per hour. So now it takes a little bit to iron this out, but you could put a lot of nitrous in the car and really tune it how you want. It helps me tremendously, and I love this nitrous setup that they did. But you know, but in this one we're going to use boost by speed, and this one's in metric. I don't think the update is fully out yet, but there is one coming for boost to be in mile an hour as well. So if you guys want Too Fast Racing, they have that, and also it is in server, so you can check it out there. But since we're doing turbo, we're going to take the nitrous off the car, and we're going to kind of go over a few things. Now, all of this stuff is, you know, extras that Kaizen put on here. That's really fun. You know, you can put flags on there, light LED, you know, underglow for backing up the car. You know, he tries to keep it fun, tries to keep it realistic with what people do in real life. So that's real cool. You know, you can have an interior fan right here. You gotta keep cool in the race car, right? Because you know it gets hot in there. And then under body, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. There's GPS, helmet, you know, laptop. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can put on this car. And another thing that I wanted to talk about. Now, a lot of people ask me, do I use the TH400 or the Power Glide? I'm gonna say this, I've used both. I don't see an advantage of one or the other. I really think it's just like, you know, I mean, I have a Turbo 400 in my one list car that I use it like a Power Glide. I use first gear as my low gear to do a burnout, and then I use 2 and 3 to make my pass. You know, kind of like a, you know, 400 with second gear lead. But now on this car, we're gonna use the Prep Surface 500 2000. Normally on a lot of my nitro stuff, I use the no prep. I may switch to this. It depends. If a car is like leaving real violently, I'll take the I'll swap a converter in it, and just try stuff. You know, that's the best thing I can say for anyone tuning is just try different things. Always save the car where you're best at, and then you can always go right back to it. And under rear suspension, now this car is a 4-link. Now, I'm not the best with the 4-link. I can get it to do some things, but I mostly just move the bars around little by little till I get them where I like them, and the car seems happy. I'm not gonna say you get to run these numbers because on a different car it might work differently. So I'll move them around in each car and see where the car's happy. And another thing is a lot of people experiment with this. There's a welded rear diff, a race locked, and limited slips. I almost always use a race locked. A lot of people use the limited slips, which it helps them sometimes. Like, you know, cars that drive right or left, they'll throw one in there and it kind of fixes that. I know it helps some people. So, you know, if you're having a problem, try a limited slip or try the race limited slip. I know that was probably the most popular one, but I always run the race lock, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave that in there. And then, you know, of course, wheels. You know, you can change your stuff. I like the 14-inch. I like the stretch look. But now, getting into the tuning aspect, this car has ballasts on it. Now, an Outlaw small tire, you can only run one ballast. You can run the front one or you can run the rear one. We're gonna put this kind of in the middle, just to start off with. We might take all that out. We might put it, you know, all back in there. I'm not sure yet. The force feedback multiplier, I don't know why. Someone told me to turn this down to 50% one time, and I've done it every time. I don't really notice much of a difference with it, but you guys can mess around with it and see what it does for you. Now these are Kaizen's 4-link numbers. I don't know, that might be way better than what I do, but I'm just gonna put in here what I normally do. And I normally don't go crazy with this either. I'll go like a -2 to a 1.5 or a 1. And I normally put these kind of longer. I normally make them pretty long because I feel like it makes the car squat a little bit. And I like to make the car squat because that's just how I like to do it. But boost, we're gonna leave that. We're just gonna put some stuff in here and see what it does. Now this may not work at all, but and then you got scramble pressure. Now you can keybind a scramble button. I think I have one keybinded. And then now as far as like my speed, this is in metric. It is a lot easier in mile per hour because right here I'll use this little airspeed because the mile per hour on nitrous by speed goes off the airspeed. So it really helps where if the car's spinning or starting to wheelie, you can make it come on later, make it come on earlier, or you know, you can control the wheelie within everything, and it helps a lot. So it's been a while since I've done the metric, but you know, same thing, move them around and see where the car's acting up, stretch them out a little bit and go from there. So we're actually gonna leave these here. If they're a mile per hour, I could probably easily get them somewhat there, but we're just gonna see where it goes. Rear spoiler angle. Not all cars have this, but you can change the angle of the spoiler. Now, if you go maxed out, it's gonna make the car wheelie a lot. If you bring it all the way down, the car might spin the tires a lot. You know, it's downforce on the back of the car. So I normally leave that there until I see what it does. Compression limiters and travel limiters, you know, it's how much travel the car has. I'm gonna leave them there for now, which should be all the way maxed. Your fast bump, I'm not too sure on fast bump. I'll be honest, it doesn't seem like it does a lot for me. Now, I set my cars up to wheelie a lot because when the car's wheeling, I feel like it's going faster in beam. Whenever I try to keep a car planted, all fours on the ground, I feel like I'm just spinning the tires the entire time, and the car's not happy. So I'll actually set my cars up to wheelie about 100 feet out, and then set back down, and then they'll start moving. What I notice is the way I set up a car in here is that if you have the bump way too tight, it won't compress the front end, and it'll actually just kind of like hop off the ground, and then it'll want to spin the rear tires. So I'll leave that kind of, I'll move it around a little bit to where it kind of barely compresses to keep the momentum going of the car. Rebound. Now, rebound is basically your, some people say it's compression, some people say it's extension. I honestly feel like it's a little bit of both. I could be completely wrong. You can call me idiot in the chat if you need to, but you know, I'm just basing off of this is what I feel. Rebound is basically like how fast the front of the car is going to travel. You tighten that way up, the car is going to take a real long time to travel. Now the fast rebound kind of seems like when you're off the starting line is when it, how fast it comes up off the initial hit. And then the rebound is kind of something that's going down track. Now, I'm explaining this way, but also the way I look at this is this was not built to tune race cars and beam. We're just manipulating it to that. Basically, is the way I look at it. Because really, to get a lot of extension out of a car is you want to lower your spring rate and raise your spring height, and it's going to give you a lot of extension in the front. I do that on a lot of my gangster cars because those, the more weight you got back there, the better off you are. So like my gangster cars, I'll have wheelie a long time. The longer the better. But we'll get into this once we start making passes and stuff like that, because I'm sure I'll change a lot of this. We changed the other 4-link bars. These, I normally leave them zeroed out. There's another height bar, but we have them up top, so I don't think that these do as much as those do. Again, I could be wrong, but your anti-roll spring rate. Now, a lot of times you can use this as well when the car's driving right and left. If you don't have one, the car's probably going left or right. It's probably not going straight. If it is, it's probably not fast. But if this is all the way down and the car's going way left, put some spring rate in it. Or, you know, a lot of times people max them all the way out. Sometimes they like to be in the middle. So it kind of depends, you know. That kind of falls back to that thing where I said where just mess with it, play with some stuff, and see what they can do. But hopefully this stuff will just give you guys a better understanding and help you out a little bit. Now for the fun part. Rear bump dampening. Again, this is one of those where this is the way it's worked for me. Normally I never mess with the bump dampening. The only time I really mess with it is if I go to, like, you know, we have so many roads here on this map. We have good roads, bad roads, roads with bumps and craters and everything else. The best time the bump dampening the rears helps me is when we go down a bumpy road. I loosen up the bump dampening, which is for bumps, and it's helped the car a lot. So it doesn't, like, because when you have it tight, it's like when you hit a bump, it kind of like smashes it real hard and then it unloads the car. So if you're ever on a bumpy scenario, try to loosen that up, or try it on a, you know, flat surface. That might help, you know, get the car momentum going. You know, it could help. So as far as rebound in the rear, I'll be honest, I don't mess with this a lot. I'll play with this on each car I have. Some cars I have it all the way down, some I have it all the way up. You know, every car is a little different because every car's J-beam differently. So, you know, that's another thing that I would just play with, is the rebound. The rebound, again, kind of the front, it kind of works like your extension in the rear. You're not going to see loads of difference, I think, but it can help moving it. Like I said, like the half-less Fox body, I have mine all the way down on that car, and it loves it. So when it takes off, it squats. Yeah, that's the way it likes to work. And if you try to tighten up the rear rebound, it just will not move. At least with my tune-up in it. But you know, again, it could help you, because if you tune differently than me, it might help you a lot. And then now spring rate and spring height, you know, that's your spring rate, how much spring rate you have in the car. Your spring height, how high you want to sit. Now a lot of times what I'll do is, because some people make the car sit real high in the rear because it kind of helps in certain cases, but I cannot do that. You know, if I build a car in here, I wish I was at the track. You know, I'd rather be doing that than playing on this, but you know, it fixes my edge sometimes. So, you know, and I hope that it can bring some people into drag racing and make it bigger and, you know, everything else. But I'm gonna make my car sit like a car sits. You know, it's gonna be tough, gotta be sitting in there and looking right. But you know, make the car sit how you like it to sit, you know, or whatever works. I will say, don't make your spring rate all the way 0. If you make it all the way 0, you do want spring rate in the car, because if you have none, it's not gonna do nothing. It's not gonna want to like travel or extend or, you know, squat or separate. It's not gonna want to do any of that. So it's just gonna fight the car the whole time. And you want a little bit of spring height as well, because if you run on spring height, it's just gonna, again, upset the car. You know, if you're squatting the car real hard, it's not gonna have nothing there, and it's just gonna stop it basically. Or if you're trying to make the car extend, same thing, and you're gonna run out of it immediately. And again, I could be wrong. It could work wonders for you, but I'm just going over my experiences. Now coupling velocity. Now this is your converter tightness. We are in a turbo car. Normally people run a turbo car really loose, but if I'm running a prep 500 2000 converter and I'm on nitrous, I will normally be between 0.3 and 0.325. Now, if I'm running the no prep converter, I am anywhere from 0.37 to 0.410. You know, I'll have everything extremely tight on nitrous and just spray as much nitrous to it as I possibly can. But this is a turbo car, so just want to throw that in for nitrous, guys. I want to try to go to 0.32 and see what we can do with it. And this on this car, it does have a bump box in it, so you can set your bump time, your gearing, which is Tyson's gearing is pretty close to kind of what I put mine at. But you can change your gear ratios. You got converter lockup, reverse gear ratio. I really don't mess with it too much. Converter lockup RPM, so you know you can set it at third gear at, you know, 6300. I'm not going to turn that on right now because I don't really use it a whole lot, but I do in gangsters sometimes. Front camber adjustment, caster, you know, that's your front end alignment. I don't normally leave all those zeroed out. Some people, you know, will move the camber, not really your caster too much or your toe, but people will play with the camber. I heard it does help with some wheelie stuff, but the one thing I will do is your toe, because your toe, basically, you're gonna point the front of the tires in a wee bit. You can see him move right there. Now, if you have that negative, tires will point out. Now, on a race car, even in real life, you gotta tuck them in a little bit. I believe it's like only like 5 degrees, if that. Or maybe it's 3 degrees. I could be really wrong. I have to look at my sheet on my car. Because if you have them pointing out, the car's not gonna want to drive straight. Having them pointing in helps the car drive like an arrow. So try that if your car's also kind of, you know, driving all over the place. You're having a hard time with it. As far as tire pressure, the front, you can max it out. I mean, I normally do. And then rear tire pressure, this is going to go a lot off your tune-up. You know, 0 could work really well for you, or 11 could. I normally put mine right about 4 on this tire. I will say on the gangster tire, I run it extremely low. I'll go as low as I can, which I think is 4 flat on the gangster tire. Okay, so I think that's all. I'm trying to go over everything, guys. If I miss stuff, I will do another one of these, and I apologize, but please let me know in the comments of what I can do more to help, and I will do that. But beyond that, I think we need to put the front end on here and go make a pass and see what it does. And then, yeah, you know, it's got 1 piece front ends on here. Now we just need to take off the projects. Where are they at? Where are they at? There they are. And go make a pass. Now, immediately, I can see that the rear of the car is sitting extremely low. So, I'm actually going to give this a spring rate. There we go. That's kind of how I started off with it, kind of with the car sitting even, maybe a small rake to the front. And then one other thing that I want to turn on is my 2-step. Normally I'll leave about 3,500 RPM, which you could leave higher, you could leave lower. Okay, there's a lot of boost in this thing. I don't need that much. Okay, not a terrible first pass. It spun way too much out of the hole. So we're actually going to take some power out of it. Now, you could add just weight to the rear of the car, but that was excessive amount of spinning. So we're actually going to bring this back down about 10. We'll bring this one down a bit. And this one down a bit. We don't need to go crazy with it. And I will say this as well. Sometimes if you guys are fighting the wall and it seems like you're putting more power in it, it's not going anywhere, it's not going faster, take power out. Because these tires don't like a ton of wheel speed. They like a little bit of wheel speed, but if you have too much of it, then you're just fighting yourself. So about the same thing, we spun a lot off on the 60 foot. So one thing I want to check is my final drive, because I don't believe I went over that. Okay, so the final drive gear ratio, you know, this is going to be like any, you know, your rear gear in the car. Now normally I used to try to make this like a realistic rear gear number. Like I'd put a 389 in there. It was just, it doesn't work that great like that. So normally I'll drop mine down to about a 2.6 to 2.4. We're gonna go right there at 2.5. And you know, a lot of people run them at just a flat 2. But for how much boost or nitrous I normally try to run with the gears I run, it doesn't work being that high. And again, like, you know, some people say that burnout doesn't do anything in Beam. We do have a mod that adds tire temp. I'm just working on that mod. It is on the repo if you guys want to check it out for yourself though. But I tune my cars to do a burnout, so you know, however you're gonna race it, that's how you need to tune it. Alright. So we're still struggling in the 60 foot. So now at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start adding weight to the back of the car. So we're gonna go ahead and put the weight all the way up to see if that'll kind of help with our 60 foot. Okay, so that one really wasn't helping either. So another thing that I want to try and kind of show you guys is a little trick I learned. Now you see our spring rate is real high and our spring height is all the way down. Now in our rebound, this is pretty high for rebound, but now if you hit control on your keyboard, it pops up these nodes and you can grab these nodes and pick it up. Now if you look at the front of my car, you notice the tire did not come down much. So now that's basically saying I don't have a lot of extension. So what I'm gonna do now is let's see something. I believe these all the way up is totally loose, so it should have all the extension. Yes, I believe so. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna lower my spring rate and turn up my spring height. I still want the car to sit how it's sitting right now, but okay, so it's sitting a little lower. So we turn that up a little higher. There we go. Now, see how much more extension we got? So now that should help tremendously on the launch. Now, if not, we'll go back and lose another rebound and go from there. Now, we had a big wheelie problem at the end, but the car left a little easier. It didn't seem like it didn't spin nowhere near as much, but it still spun. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put some more power in the second, because the car is kind of laying over once it grabs. Or this could be why. We're going to have to turn those up. Now, ALS pressure, I do believe that this determines how quick the car will spool. Our car is kind of spooling kind of slow, so we're going to turn that up a little bit. And now we have rear weight ballast turned up. So one thing I want to do is the car wheelied a lot on the big end. So this is where the two come together. Kind of nice. The rebound can kind of help on the big end. The fast rebound will kind of help off the starting line. But now we're probably going to run into a big wheelie problem like we just did. So, I think we just kind of get too much power everywhere. So now, one thing that we're going to try to do is we're going to take the weight back out of it in the rear, and that will kind of help with all that big end wheeling as well. And then just work on the car down low. We're trying to get the car to just leave and not spin the tire, and then we can put some power in from there. Okay, so one thing you can also do to take out the wheelie is you can lower the front end of the car or put a smaller tire up front. Right now we have a 24. I won't take the 24 off because I love the way the 24 looks on cars. But you can to put a smaller tire up there. I just like the way this looks. As far as everything else, it's clearly I have way too much power up top, so just I'm gonna take that out until I get a good baseline A to B tune. And now what I'm doing there when I turn those up, I'm just making the power come on later. Okay, well, we're still gonna slow 60 foot because we're spinning the tire, but, you know, once it clears up, it starts moving pretty good. So one thing I'm gonna try here is I'm actually gonna lower the tire pressure. Some cars like to run zero, some don't. No, I could be going the wrong way on this, but like I said, guys, try little things and see what the car likes. Up a few thousands in the 60 foot there, and I'm not dead set that that was all of that, but another thing that I was looking at earlier was we have the big stage 3 in here. Now stage 3s work great for prep and everything else, because you want to put as much power as you possibly can in the car. No prep, they're not always the greatest because they make so much torque. So we're going to take out the stage 3 and go from there. You can tell though how much slower it's building the boost, and you can see the kind of difference that made just by dropping down 2 stages. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go put some more power back in it. I should have went over that in the beginning, and I apologize I didn't. But it seems like now we can put some boost in it. So we're only going to go up to the 4th one, and we'll work from there. So, whoa, okay. Okay, so we want a 153 to the 60 foot. So we're almost back where we were with probably half the power. So you guys powering everything in here. But we're gonna keep turning this up till, you know, it does something good. There's a better 60 foot, but we need to build boost quicker. So if you guys can tell how long that took to take off, tell me one thing: that converter's probably too tight. When it's really dragging it out there, it's probably way too tight. So we're gonna go down to a 0.3 and go from there. See how I picked up about 500 RPM off the trans brake and spooled a little bit quicker. Alright, now there's a 14360 foot. So we're definitely moving in the right direction. No, guys, see, you know, it's not always the first try you get it. Sometimes you gotta change some things. So now what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna shorten these up so they come on closer together. So the closer you can get them together, the more power you're gonna make quicker, and it's gonna equivocate by the end of the run. One thing I also want to try is maybe shorten up my folding bars. Like I said, guys, play with stuff, keep playing with it. You know, you might find something that works much better for you. I'm also going to turn on this. This says speed 1, but it's technically your second boost stage. Okay, so another thing we could do is start putting some weight back in the rear of the car, since, you know, we're putting more power in it. We're still leaving. We don't have a huge wheelie problem, so we try to put some more weight in there and maybe get some more boost out of the low end of the car. I am terrible born in a water box. Okay, so another thing is, like, you know, it's taking a while for that boost to come on. Our converter could still be a little tight. You know, we're not even getting out of first gear, so we're going to loosen this up a bit more and see what it'll do. Now, when it starts popping and banging, you know, when I'm on that trans brake, that's just because I'm on a two-step. Because I don't want to go over 3,500 RPM. Now, that right there, guys, that was a very clean A to B pass. You can see the front end extend on the car. You can see it kind of squat in the rear. And, you know, that was all changing the converter and just messing with the boost down low. So now that we're at that point, now we can really start putting some power in it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn on the steam now. So one thing I also think is I think I could leave at more power. Maybe not this much, but you know what? We're gonna try it. There's a 489 with a 139 60 foot. We're gonna try that again. And now you've seen that the car took all that power, but if you notice, when I'm on my two-step, it's only at 9 pounds. So it's the initial hit is still on low boost. See, it's sitting right there like 9.5, but as soon as I let go, it gradually goes up there. And it repeats it at the 8th mile. That's what we want. We want repeatability. So one thing you can try here is if you want to leave it a little harder, we can turn this two-step up a little bit. Now, I just turned it up 300 RPMs, and you'll see the difference it makes. Well, I shouldn't say that. It makes a big difference on nitrous. But right there, see how I gained 8 pounds of boost? And I just picked up almost a 10th in the 8th. So little things like that, guys, goes a long way. And that was just with 300 RPMs. So, before we end this, we're gonna see how much power we can put to this car. Now, so we're gonna go out here and we're gonna turn it up. And we're gonna turn it up out the hole because it's leaving on that. Now, so what I might end up doing is, since I turned this up 5 pounds, now that's a lot. I might turn my RPM, my two-step back down to make it take a little bit to get there. There we go, guys. Just a 132 and a 476. There it is again, a 133 to 4 within a thousandth. That's really good. That's a very consistent car. But now, before we end this, you know, this car has a scramble button. Now, if you go into your controls and vehicle specific, you will find scramble button. So now we're going to keybind that, and we're going to see what we can do with the big button. You know, everyone, you always gotta have a button. It's insurance policies. You wouldn't not have insurance on your house, right? So why not have insurance in the race car? If I can find the scramble button. right there, scramble pressure. We're just gonna put that up to 20 pounds and give it a whirl. Now, you're not gonna hit this immediately. You're gonna want to hit it maybe at half track. Okay, we didn't have much of a 60-foot there. So we're gonna try that again, because I think our 60-foot time definitely glitched. And there you go, it was a 466. But show you guys, we're gonna hit this thing early now. I'm not sure how correct that one is, but that was a pretty good pass. This car could definitely get in the 50s. But to end it off right, we gotta make a pass in cockpit view. Hopefully we don't crash. Cross there, but hey, still went on 466. That's a good pass. But guys, I know this was a very long video. I apologize for that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I just wanted to shed some light on things. I know I started in the middle, went backwards, and I apologize for that, but I hope this helped you guys, help you with tuning stuff, and you know, whatever server you're in, or if you're in here, I hope we can help. But guys, I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one. But you know, guys, if I can help, I want to. So whatever I can do, please let me know in the comments. I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. But guys, you guys mean a lot. This means a lot, and thank you all for everything. I appreciate you guys.